Good afternoon, everybody. Oh, this is so cool. How are we all? Can you all hear me? No. I have a 2 minute Lorraine with my fabulous music that my boss did for me. Hi Patricia, hi Lisa, hi Donna, hi Karen, hi Lindsay. And I've got comments everywhere. Hi Vicky from Australia. Nice to see you. Hi Connie. Hi Marion. Oh God, I've got comments everywhere. Yes, Anne, you were the first one here. You were very, very early. Hope you've made a coffee now, though. Hi Jodie. Hi Doreen. Wow, this is so exciting. I'm sorry, I'm like a kid at Christmas, aren't I? I'll get used to it. Wetting King's Lane. Yeah, Tony, it's wet here too. I think it's wet everywhere, to be honest. Hi Christine. Hi Mary. Hi Jean. Hi Julie. Didn't know the rain was spooky, Connie. Hi Kathy. Hi Margaret. Hope Hobby's okay and he's nice and settled back at home. Well, it's dry at the minute, but I don't think it's going to be dry for very long there. Don't even know it's me. Hi Lisa. I had spotted you on the other feed as well, because I've got like 3 lots of comments up here in front of me. I don't know which to look at first. Okay, let's make a start, shall we? I'm going to be using these fabulous Bold Peonies today. And I use the hyacinths on Monday, and I don't know which is my favourite. I thought it was the hyacinths, but then I don't know. I've done a few of these, and I have no idea, Lisa. Just a wild guess. It might have had something to do with the Lisa Horton Crafts banner on my screen. Bit of a giveaway that. Although it's confusing when I do it on a Friday because it's me on a Friday. Your friend's cap is black. Okay. Mine is like dirty. Hi, Zelda. Not seen that name before. Welcome. This set is a beauty. Yes, Donna, you're quite right. It is. It's fabulous. Let's make a start. I'm using the Bold Peonies, and although I'm going to stencil the whole lot, I'm actually not using the whole of the picture once I've finished. I'm going to cut a piece out of it, and then I'm going to emboss it, because when I did my samples and I did a couple like this, I forgot to emboss it. I still think it looks fantastic, but I did mean to emboss it and I forgot. So I need to emboss this one. So I'm using the embossing folder. No dye with this one, obviously, because you don't need it, because you're using the whole thing, although you don't have to. And as I said that, the sun came out. How fabulous. I'm going to leave my stencils in front of me. I'm also using the nested stitch bubble ovals on this particular card. I'm using the text stamp out of the textures set, and I'm also using the fabulous drop shadow words. However, on today's card, the majority of the time I'm using it, I'm not using the actual drop shadow. I'm just using the main word. Okay, but on my no, I'm not even using it on the sentiment. I'm just using the one stencil, not both. So let's make a start. Now there are 9 stencils in this set, and I have to say the detail that you get with these 9 stencils is absolutely second to none. Nothing to touch it. So I'm going to try and stick mainly to one green on the leaves. I am going to go sort of different depths of colour, but I want to really use just the woodland moss if I can. I might use a bit of garden sage as a bit of shading, but mainly it will be woodland moss. The sentiments are amazing, aren't they, Donna? Hi, Natalia. Okay, right. Now, some of these stencils are quite delicate. So whilst you could use your wonder brushes on some of the more delicate stencils, I would recommend you just use your stencil brushes. Okay. Is the picture better today than it was on Monday? Because I think it was a bit fuzzy on Monday because I think we were a little bit too close. So I've moved the camera a little bit further away today, hoping that it gives me a better picture. So just let me know if you think the picture's okay. Hi, Nikki. Picture's great. Thank you, Donna. Okay, so woodland moss into all these leaves. Now, the other thing I'd say is on my stenciling, I've done all of this green as it is on the picture on the front. But I know some of the girls have done this bit here as another flower, which of course you can do. It's personal preference. If you want to make this one into a flower, you can, because I think actually it probably is. But on here it's green, and that's what I've done it as. I've done it as leaves. So just something to bear in mind when you get your set, if you're going to buy it, that your choice, you can use whatever you want. Okay, so for my shading on all of this, I'm going to be using cobblestones. I'm going to put that lid up there and just leave this open because I'm going to use it quite a bit. So I'm just going to do a little bit of shading on these leaves. Not a great deal, just a tiny little bit, just to give it a little bit of interest. I'm coming up, my shading here would be on this one. My card's moved by the looks of it. That's better. So my shading here is going to be behind this flower and behind here. So I'm coming up into this leaf up here. I'm not using black because whilst I know, black is your friend and you can use it for all sorts of things, I think sometimes it might be just a little bit harsh. Okay, so I'm using the cobblestones because I think it gives it still gives the shading, but it's not quite as dark. So I'm not using very much on these leaves down here, just the smallest amount. And really, you won't notice it until you've finished, and that's when it sort of pops. All that shading will pop. Okay, so I'll come in with number 2. Now you can see here I've got a flower up here. That's this one here. Okay, and then again these are leaves down here. So I'm going to go in with my woodland moss, but I'm going to go in quite a bit lighter on this set. So if I leave that brush up there, bring my woodland moss back, and to start with I'm going to just use the ink that's left on the brush. I'm obviously going to have to re-ink it because there's not going to be very much, but I don't want this to be as heavy as that first set that I put down. And there's a lot of stenciling on this, so I'm probably not going to catch all your comments. So I apologise, but I always go back afterwards and have a look at all your comments. So if you've asked any questions and the design team haven't been able to answer them, I will answer them later. So again, just circular movements with my stencil brush, just to fill in these little apertures. This bit here is a little bit delicate, but it's not too bad. And I always say, some people will say, oh, you don't need those delicate bits. It's not absolutely necessary. And I suppose really, no, it isn't. in the great scheme of things. But for me, because Lisa's stencils have that beautiful reality about them, you know, it gives the whatever you're stenciling that sort of hint of reality, and depending on what colours you use, that's going to enhance that. All the tiny little details that probably sometimes are a little bit delicate, I think, make all the difference. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I think they're perfect just the way they are. So all you've got to do is just take your time and just be aware of what it is you're doing, and you'll be absolutely fine. I did notice a lady in the group yesterday who said she'd used the feathered friends, I think it was, for the first time, and she was disappointed. But as I said to her, don't be disappointed. If it's your first attempt, it's brilliant. And as Lisa always says, your first one will be your worst one, because we're learning all the time. And the more stencils that Lisa brings out, the bigger that learning curve is going to be, because they're all different. So whatever technique you apply to one might not work with another. But who cares? It's all about playing and learning and just having fun, to be honest. So I wouldn't worry. If you think it doesn't look right, I guarantee that 99% of other people will think it looks amazing, especially when it's your first one. So, don't be frightened of posting in the group, because we've got such a fabulous group that I can't remember the last time I saw any nasty comments. And to be perfectly honest, anybody making nasty comments won't stay anyway, because they won't get any choice. But post your work. Don't sort of sit in the background and think, oh, it's not good enough, because it really is. Okay, so I've just added a little bit of cobblestones onto those leaves, just to give it a little bit of interest. So now I'm coming in on number 3. Now this is the first part of the flowers. Flowers are here, and these two parts here, but these two little bits again are green. Okay, so I'm going to go in, and I'm going to go reasonably heavy here, because I just want these to stand out as a little bit different. And when you come to a later stencil, you will add more colour anyway. Okay, so if I just put my lid on there for now, and I'm going to go in with Pina Colada, because it's a lightish yellow, and I don't want it to be sort of too heavy, this first layer. So I am going to use my Wonder Brush, just for speed really, because it's just going to give me, it's just going to fill these apertures in a lot quicker. You're quite right, Valerie, we are. Everybody is the same. And I think half the problem when you're doing stuff like this is that you compare yourself to other people. And that's something that really you shouldn't do, because if it's your first attempt, it could be somebody else's 51st attempt. So they're going to look better than you think yours look. Doesn't necessarily mean they are, but you should only ever compare your journey with your journey. So do one. If you're not happy with it, put it to one side, keep it. And then as you go on, as you move on through your journey with stencils, etc., you will see how much you grow. And that is the only person that you should compare yourself to. You know, I used to think, why has Lisa got me on her design team? Because my cards are rubbish compared to everybody else's. But it isn't that. My cards are different to other people's, and so will yours be. Yeah, you're quite right, Karen. The more the detail, the more it comes to life. And I've said it before. I don't care what anybody says. For me, when I'm stenciling, I want it to look as realistic as it possibly can, and that's what you get with Lisa's. So as I say, never compare yourself to anybody else. Compare yourself to yourself. Okay, I have a feeling my card has moved, or my silicone mat in the holder, but not to worry. Okay, so I've got my first layer down there of my pale yellow. All right, that's going to go quite a bit darker by the time we're finished. So on the back here, this is sort of the inside of your flower. So for me, that's going to be a little bit darker. Shopping, Cindy. Do you mean craft shopping, Cindy? Hope so. So in here, I want to go a little bit darker than that fabulous pina colada. Okay, so I'm going to go in here with my juicy pineapple instead, because I know it's a darker yellow. But I'm going to start off reasonably light. Okay, because whilst I want it darker, I don't want it mega dark, if you know what I mean. So I'm just going to go in here with this juicy pineapple, and then I'm also going to go back and add some shading around this bit here, which hopefully will just bring the inside of this flower to life. Okay, so that's the inside of my flower, and then these here are leaves again. All right, so I'm going to go in with my woodland moss. Let's just pop the lid on there, otherwise I'm going to end up with a green brush in a yellow ink pad, and that will never happen. Won't be any good, would it? So again, just checking down here, these are different leaves and they're a different colour on here, but you don't have to do them a different colour. You can do if you want, obviously. You could use garden sage or eucalyptus leaves just to make it look a little bit different, but I'm quite happy keep sticking with my woodland moss. So I'm going to go reasonably light on these so that they look a little bit different to what I've already laid down. And you can see that I'm not putting virtually no pressure on this brush because of where I'm holding it quite a way back. Now you can see I've already got some green down here. So on these, I am going to go a little bit heavier because I want this to stand out on the first layer that I've done. Okay, so let's just go over that a little bit more. Leave it at that. No, I said I was going to put some shading on, so I will. So I'm going to come in here, but I'm actually going to use burnt ochre. I didn't originally, but I think, thinking about it, I think burnt ochre might work quite well. I'm going to come in here, and again, I'm not going too heavy. I just want it to give me a feeling of shadow. It's quite difficult keeping up with all these comments. I apologise if I miss them all and I don't answer you all. Okay, so I'm just going to come in with that burnt ochre. Might even go around the top here just to give it a little bit of an impression that you're looking inside the flower, so that as the flower petals come over, there would be that little hint of shadow just around the edge. But I'm not going as heavy as I went down here. So just the tiniest bit. But I think it'll make the difference when you've finished. I've done all my leaves. Yeah, like that. Okay, I'm going to go quite a lot heavier here when I use upcoming stencils, so don't worry about that looking quite pale. It's not going to look that pale for long. So now you can see here when I say these are quite delicate. All right, so yes, you could use your Wonder Brush. I'd be very careful, but for me, I'm going to use my stencil brush, and I'm not going to go in circular motions. I'm going to just go backwards and forwards in line with these actual pieces here. So these two, I'm doing exactly the same. I'm coming in from one side and I'm just working along those lines rather than in circular motions. This bit at the top isn't too bad because it's sort of connected to the outside of the stencil, if you like. So it sort of gives it a little bit more stability. But as you work towards the middle, they are going to move. And what you don't want to happen is for these to move, because once they move, you're going to lose that definition of those petals inside. Okay, so just be a little bit more patient, take your time, and just do them a little bit slower, and you will reap the benefits. So just fill that bit in, and then we can come on to the other bit. Okay, so we just come in the same down here. Now, like I say, these pieces are right around the edge, aren't going to be too bad, because I can come in and do my circular motions on those edge pieces. But when I get to these pieces in the middle, I am going to go a little bit more gently and take my time a little bit. So once you've filled in those edge pieces, then you can come back in with your stencil brush and work along those lines, just to keep those delicate little pieces in line, especially this piece, because this piece here isn't attached to anything. So if that moves, then you're really going to spoil the effect of why it's there. And it's not attached to anything, because if you attach it to something, it's not going to look right. Okay. Hi, Linda. So just fill these little gaps in, and then I am going to come back in and add that little bit of shading again, and I am going to use that burnt ochre, I think, rather than the cobblestones, just because it's a little bit different, and grey might be a little bit too harsh on this because it's yellows. All right, so I'm going to come up here, just into that bud there, and then I'm going to come round here, down the bottom, and just add that little bit of shading around the bottom of the flower. I'm going to do the same over here, and you can go as as far with this as you want to. I mean, obviously, if the light's shining down, your shadow's going to be at the bottom. It might also be down the sides of some of the petals, depending on where your light's coming from. So it's totally up to you where you add your shadow. You can add it all the way around if you want, but it just gives a little bit heavy there, but it won't matter. It'll be fine. I'm just going around, just add a little bit more all the way around here, and then leave it at that. Okay. Lovely job. Okay, so now we're on to stencil 6. It's not taking virtually any time at all, really. Now this piece here is leaf, and these are flowers, and I'm referring to the picture that's in front of me. And then this one down here is also flower, according to the picture. So I'm going to stick with what's on there, and I'm going to use them as flowers. So this one is leaf, and the rest is flowers. All right. So I'm going quite heavy with this, because obviously it's still in bud, so it's going to be a little bit darker than your main flower, because your main flower is fully open, isn't it? So add my colour up here, and then here in the middle here, I'm going to do this with juicy pineapple, but then I'm also going to add some early sunrise to give it a bit of a different sort of hue to it, just so that it looks a little bit different. Okay, so I've done all those, put that back on there, and then this one up here is a leaf. So again, I'm going to come reasonably light and just fill that aperture. I'm using Lisa's white texture card for my base for my flowers, and I just like the effect that it gives you. So before we take this one off, we're just going to come in with that early sunrise, and we're just going to come up here into this. I might do it all over, I don't know yet, but I'm going to come up in here with this early sunrise just to give this centre a lovely sort of glow to it. And then what I'm also going to do is add a little bit to these here, just to make them stand out a little bit, really, just to make them look a little bit different. You don't have to, it's however you see it, do it how you want to do it. I mean, I'm just giving you suggestions and ideas. You do exactly what you want. This is a lovely colour, burnt ochre, isn't it, Connie? Right, coming in with number 7, so we're down to the last 2 now. So again, this is flower, and I'm adding detail on this one. Now when I come to these little seed heads here, I am going to use my burnt ochre. I'll just pop that on there for now. I'm going to come in with my juicy pineapple on this one, like so. Now on the picture here, these are sort of yellow. I'm actually going to do mine green because it just fits in with what I want. I want the centre here to be the flower, and then I want the rest of it to sort of be the casing for the flower as it sort of comes out of its bud existence, if you like. So I'll just come down here with my juicy pineapple and fill that flower in. And then we're going back over the top here, again with juicy pineapple. But I am going to go in and add a little bit of burnt ochre, just to make it look a little bit different. Okay, and the same down here, because that will be shaded off where the green casing is on the flower. And then I'm going to come up into here with a little bit of burnt ochre, just for that bit shading up here as well. Now then, I'm going to go back to my green. This here is darkish green, and then these are quite dark as well. So I'm going to go reasonably heavy over these. And this little bit up the top here. Make sure I haven't missed anything. So I'm just going to do this little bit here in the centre, and then I'm going to put my seed bits in up here. So I'm going to go in here with this burnt ochre. If it doesn't show up like I want it to, I'm going to go back in with grey. I'm going to add it in with grey, but we'll see. So I'm going to come through here with a little bit more juicy pineapple. And then I'm just going to finish it off with the lightest bit of early sunrise along those veins. So I'm not going very heavy at all on there. I'll just lift it off just to see, yeah, got some definition there. I'm just going to go back again over the top of those pieces of mylar just to make it stand out. I'm just going to go back over the top of those as well. And then here, where I've got a little bit of leaf here, I'm going to go back over that so that puts that definition into that leaf as well. Oh, fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Now we're coming in and putting even more detail in. Okay, so colour choices here are, again, totally up to you. So you can see here I've got a little bit of flower, and then up here, this is another piece of leaf up here. So this could be a bit darker, and I can go darker on top of here and down here, because it's just adding on all this little detail. Okay, and then up here, these two little bits of green, as is this. So on this bit here, I think what I will do is I will go in with that juicy pineapple, just to deepen that colour off a little bit. When you get to here, just be aware that these are very close together, but if you do the flower colour first, then when you add your green on the top, it won't be too bad. So I'm going to go up the top here with that, and then I'm just going to go back with a little bit of that early sunrise again, just to give it that bit better depth. And then we're going to come over all of these markings on the flower. I'm just going to go lightly over those with that early sunrise, just to try and make them stand out a little bit. Are you all still with me, or have you all fallen asleep? See you later, Connie. Hope you get on okay. Okay, just have a quick look. Yeah, that's nice like that. And then I'm going to come up here with a little bit of orange, not too much, just enough to finish that little flower up down there. And then I'm going to go back in with the green and finish off all the rest of those apertures with this green. So I'm going to go reasonably heavy, because obviously I want these markings to stand out. So this is going to take a little bit of time, because obviously you've got these very delicate parts of the stencil which you don't want to spoil. So I would just say, don't use this stencil set if you need a card in a hurry, because it's not going to work. You need time to set and do this, and believe me, it is so worth the effort. It really is. It's a fabulous set. I think for me it's one of Lisa's best, because of the amount of detail that's on it. It is incredible. So we're coming in and we're filling in some gaps that have not got any colour on them. So they're obviously going to be a lot lighter than what the parts that we're putting on top of colour we've already laid down. But that's what gives you your difference in all those leaves. And I just think it's fab. So I'm going to lift that off. Look at that. And I'm not being funny. When you emboss this, it just pops. It's amazing. It really is. Now on here, I am going to come in with, let me just put my lids back on my ink pads. And I'm not going to put the brush in the wrong one. Now, originally, I was going to just go in with a darker yellow and a darker green. But I think what I'm actually going to use is the cobblestones, because I want these detailed bits to really stand out. But I don't want to use black, because black's just going to be far too harsh. I might actually just start with the burnt ochre on the yellow bits and see what they look like. And if I don't like them, then I'm going to go over it with cobblestones. I'm not sure that the burnt ochre will be dark enough, but we can have a look, and we can always go, oh no, I like that. I'm not going to show you, I'll wait till I finish. So we'll fill the yellow ones in with burnt ochre, and it is a beautiful, beautiful colour. And then we'll go back and we'll do the green leaves and use cobblestones, because that's really going to stand out. You could use garden sage. Garden sage is a really dark green, and that will stand out. But for me, I think the cobblestones will look even better. So those are my flowers. Pop that on there, and then we'll come back in and put the detail on the leaves. And this bit is really, really quick. Just need to make sure you don't miss any. But it is so satisfying when you lift this up and you sort of see it. It basically will jump off the page at you, because it is just so lifelike. And once you emboss it, oh my days, it will look amazing. Have I done all my green bits? I think so. Right. Oh wow, look at that. Don't you think that looks just fabulous? Not because I've done it, because the stencils lead you to do something that wonderful. It's just incredible how much detail there is in these stencils. They're just I have no words to adequately describe how fabulous they are. Okay, so I'll just take my little piece of tape off there, and I only put that there to stop it moving when I lifted other stencils up, because once you catch it, you don't really want to move it. So let's take my die. Now I'm going to decide which piece I want. Now I can go. So I don't have to do it straight either. Excuse me. I could just take that flower with the little bit of leaf, or I could cut that flower off like so and take a little bit more leaves down here. I think I actually like that, to be honest. If I can position that so that I get all of that flower and a little bit of the other piece here, don't want that over the edge. I think that'll be fab. I'm just going to put a bit of tape on there, and then I'm going to run it through, and then I'm going to emboss it. So let's just move that there. Don't want to show you that bit first. So I'm going to put that on my die cutting machine. So bear with while I just run it through. Now, you might think, taking all that time to do all that and you're going to waste it all. I won't. I will use this bit in the background of something else. Okay, so it's not going to go to waste at all. So then I'm going to line this piece up in my embossing folder. Okay, work out which is the deboss and the emboss, and then just take your time lining it up, because you don't want to spend all that time stenciling it and then line it up wrong. I think that looks about right. And then pop it through the machine again and emboss it. Now you wait till you see it embossed. I know that the samples in the group sort of show you, but when you've watched it sort of be stenciled and look quite flat, and then you see how it looks out of here. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? If I can bring it up a little bit without it going out of focus. Look at the depth in that. Doesn't it look gorgeous? I mean, look at the depth on the back. It's just stunning. Absolutely fabulous. What a shame cutting it. Yeah, but you see, Anne, sometimes, I mean, if you know you're going to do that, then you don't have to stencil it all, do you? But I wanted to show you the whole thing before I cut it up. Okay, if I was doing this again, I probably wouldn't colour the whole lot. I would just colour the bit that I know I'm going to use. All right. Now, when I'm looking at this now, it has slipped in the embossing folder, but I'm not going to redo it because I really don't think it spoils it. I just love that. I think it's great. So then I did my card base. Now these are the drop shadow words, but you can see I haven't used the drop shadow on them. Okay, all I've done is just ink through the one word and then move it down, and they're so easy to line up because you can see through them. They're just really easy to line up, both in a straight line and space wise down the page. I could have spaced them out a little bit more and not had quite so many, but what if I'm going to say thanks, I want it to be thanks. And then this side, just so that it didn't look totally bare, I've used the text stamp out of that textures set. Now you all know how much I love that set, and it just, for me, it just lifts a background on a card. So that's what I've used on this side. And then this is the largest bubble oval. So this piece is the next one down, okay? And then that's just going to sit on there like that. Now, had I have thought about this before I did it, I could probably have put the oval the other way around so that the flower was sitting like that, but I don't think it matters. I think it's fab either way. So I'm just going to 3D that, and then I'm just going to add my sentiment, and then I will just show you one that I sat and did this morning. So I sat here and I thought, what can I do? Oh, I know. I'll do another set of colours. just so you can see how different it looks. So I used completely different colours. I didn't want to use shocking pink and the like because I've done that on my samples. So I wanted it to be a little bit different. So we'll just run through those colours with you in a sec. So I'm going to take the backing off here, place this down, and then add my sentiment. Job done. Now, I don't think anybody would be disappointed to get a card that looked that fabulous. I really don't. I think it's just cracking set. That's about right. And then I've just used one of the sentiments from the washi papers, you know, the whitewash florals or the cute ones with the animals on. And I've just cut just a small sentiment. I'm going to hang it off the edge right at the bottom so that it's not intruding on the flower too much, but it's there. I know I've said thanks all the way down here, but I don't think it looks finished unless it's got a proper sentiment on it. So I'm just going to add that down there. I've only put glue on one side. I don't think it needs it this side. I think it'll be absolutely fine. But I love that. I think that is just so beautiful. And just using that extra little bit of shading just lifts that flower a little bit. So the one I did this morning is this one. And I've used on here, I've used 2 or 3 different greens actually. I did use eucalyptus leaves, garden sage and woodland moss. But I've used coral beach, rustic coral and red grapefruit on that one. Now, I think the difference is just amazing. You know, it looks a totally different stencil, doesn't it? Because you've used different colours. I know Natalia's done a little reel, which is in the group, and she's used blues on hers, and that looks absolutely stunning. So, you know, whatever colours you want to use, just go ahead and use them. Have fun. You know, it is such a satisfying thing to do. So, you know, if you've not got any Elisa's stencils, I really think it's worth the investment, but then I may be a little bit biased. I don't think so, but they're just phenomenal. They're just absolutely brilliant. So I will love you and leave you there. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was informative and helpful. Don't forget, Lisa will be live with you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. I've no doubt that she will be showing you some of the samples that the girls have done ready for the shows on Monday, which of course is one day special, which starts at 6 o'clock, another show at 9 o'clock, and then 10 o'clock the following morning. Not sure whether Dawn's doing 2 o'clock, but I know Lisa's on at 6, 9 and 10. Okay, so have a feeling that things will go live tomorrow if they're not already. I haven't checked this morning, so I'm not sure. So, you know, go and have a look. But definitely they will be live tomorrow, round about 5ish, I think. So see you around at Lisa's tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will be back with you on Monday. So have a fabulous weekend, everybody, and take care. Bye now.